Most of my life, I've had pain. In my childhood, I've been shot in my hip. I've been shot, that memory was blocked. I never actually understood why I was always in such a pain and why the pain was always kind of moving around, being everywhere. Ligaments, joints, spine discomfort. So all my life was around different healing tools from a very natural perspective. I just started researching different types of healing arts around Brazil first and then around the globe. I was starting to be exposed to lots of different types of approaches and lots of different good healers in Brazil from all different traditions and lineages. And yoga happened to me as part of that. Basically, another tool in that big toolbox I was just discovering. Gradually, I figured out it was the toolbox itself, and the other things were inside. The beginning was me naturally connecting with yoga through my own personal discomfort and pain, but seeing yoga as natural technology that would be leading me to a better physical life. But then that journey ended up being very different because after probably 2 years doing yoga, all the pain came back, and I was not aware of why that happened. I was studying with excellent teachers in all different places and practicing quite a lot and researching and becoming more knowledgeable about all that. When the pain came back, it really got me in a sense. For a while, I thought about stop doing it for good. But at the same time, I was very frustrated. But instead of blaming yoga for not working, I decided to question a little bit more what was happening in the yoga field at that time already. Because of the background with various types of massage and the chiropractic field and other types of healing work, I always thought you should be doing yoga and getting clear benefits. The benefits should be very solid and they should impact you in a deeper level. Naturally, I started reading traditional yoga books again. And in the books, I was just searching for the very, very basic parts of yoga, the most fundamental aspects of yoga that one could be thinking about or going for in a practice. And that was super clarifying for me. After seeing many teachers, many places, many countries, and reading those old books over and over again, I started understanding that we in the West, we actually went to the East to see what was happening there. When we saw yoga for the first time, our interpretation was based on our own database. So we've seen people moving their bodies, and we immediately saw and we translated that as a physical activity. So we started using and practicing yoga as a form of maybe fancy, maybe exquisite type of physical activity. Have never been a physical activity. It was always something else because it's so related to our nervous system and our mind. I would say probably all the poses are only about that. Ways for you to be exploring and having more of your own personal potential available to you. Not as a physical activity. I would say it's a lot closer from a hygiene procedure than a physical activity. The poses are a lot closer to that. But if you add the fitness factor, it doesn't really fit well. And we can see that because over time, doing them as a physical activity usually ends up being a mistake. And you can see it because you have injuries or problems or issues. And one day, I was driving. After driving probably for 1 or 2 hours, everything in that hip started to get locked up and the pain would start moving. Instead of seeing that the car was harmful, I've noticed that the car was not harmful only to me. The car was actually harmful to everyone. I was noticing more because my hip being injured was allowing me to experience what everybody actually feels, but in a shorter period of time. So I was actually having the opportunity, as if you have something under the microscope and you can see clearly. The shot, the accident, was actually a way for myself to see things more rapidly than most of the population. And that was the beginning of the research, and that was the beginning of Sukhasana, and that was basically one of the first steps of everything I've done after that. And at that moment, I actually noticed that yoga poses basically are very complex leverage systems operating biomechanically. Every single pose matches a human necessity in one or in many joints at the same time. So from that reflection, just kind of yoga and my chiropractic work merged together in front of my eyes. The teaching environment, the teaching place is actually my natural element. I kind of move well everywhere, but in the teaching room, I really feel home. Teaching is what really drives me in all senses, to connect with people and to deliver them as much as possible, as fast as possible, in order for that understanding to be their understanding and no longer mine. So everything I do is based on self-challenge. How can I teach better? Better language, better body language, better movements, better explanations, the use of my voice, the way I change the tone of my voice, the way I move in the room, the way I connect to people, the velocity I can use to connect with people, and the way all those skills working together will help the student to understand better. Every day I ask myself how I could be understanding more about the human nature, about the Western mind, about the Eastern mind, about the different cultures, about the different countries, about different people coming together. I have had the opportunity to see probably hundreds of students aging 5, 10, 15, 20 years. I've been very blessed in this way because I've had the opportunity to interact with people that have trusted my work enough to be with me for 20 years. That's amazing because I've seen many men you don't often see in a yoga room practicing yoga from the age of 60 up to the age of 80. And it's amazing when they turn to you saying, you know what? I see in the mirror that I'm older, but I can't actually feel it. All my friends, they deal with their knees, they deal with their hips, they deal with their spine, and I don't. And actually, I used to have stuff when I was 60 that I don't have anymore. Everything you do has to lead you to more of your potential. And we actually have no idea what the potential of the human being is. We're just scratching that. We don't know how we could be aging. We don't know for how long we could be living. All that is still a question mark.